Alright, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Tartan Film, and we're going to be doing our first Netflix review of The Punisher Season 2. Now, I'm going to try and avoid spoilers for as much of this as I can, but I don't think there's any way of talking to you about it without spoiling some bits, and without babbling on for too long, let's just get straight into this and roll the intro. So to be perfectly honest with you, I don't really have any bad things to say about this. If you were to put a negative on this, I would say that it's not as good as Daredevil, but I think you're going to have to go a long way to beat Daredevil anyway. But I think the whole cast, everyone involved did a terrific job with The Punisher Season 2. Jon Bernthal, Ben Barnes, the main antagonist, alongside Josh Stewart, who played John Pilgrim. I think they all did very, very well. I think they told their respective stories well. And yeah, that's what we're going to discuss here. We're going to run through the plot basically without giving away too many spoilers, because I do implore each and every one of you who may watch this to go watch The Punisher Season 2. So The Punisher Season 2 starts off, if you remember at the start of, or at the end of Season 1 rather, Frank Castle gave Billy Russo a bit of a hiding. He managed to achieve vengeance on those who killed his family, and he was given a pardon for his crimes, and he was allowed to move on with a new life as long as he didn't really disturb anyone again. So if you fast forward some time, we begin with Frank Castle, who is a bit of a drifter, and he's made his way into a small town. He's in a bar. There is inevitably trouble, as you can imagine. What follows from that is a scene that Marvel Netflix shows are becoming very, very famous for, and that's fantastic action sequences, and it happens again here. We have a well choreographed, well directed, well captured fight scene in the bar, which takes place, or starts in the bathroom and makes its way into the main bar area. It's just a joy to behold, or a joy to view rather, and I know I gushed a lot about the prison scene in episode 6 of the Daredevil. It isn't quite as good as that for me personally. This is just my personal opinion. But what I would say is that it ranks highly with a lot of the stuff that Daredevil achieved. But as far as the plot is concerned, Frank Castle comes across a girl called Amy, who is played by Georgia Wingham. Is that Wingham? Yes, it is. Sorry, Wiggum. Sorry, excuse me. I've got my notes in front of me here. And the two of them begin an unlikely friendship. Amy is a 16-year-old girl, which resonates with Frank, because that would have been the age that his daughter would have been if she'd still been alive. So even though the beginning premise of the relationship is a protector, because of what this girl knows, I'm not going to spoil what she knows, again, because I promised I wouldn't make too many spoilers. But for me personally, what she is covering is kind of pointless, and you'll probably see that yourself if you turn out to watch it. It doesn't take away from the series as a whole. I wouldn't let what I'm telling you put you off. I'd still go and watch it, but for me the payoff just isn't there. It's not worth the journey. But what is important here is the bond that the two of them undertake. It's quite apparent that Frank he does have a softer side. He is a sort of grumbling, rough and ready human being, but he does have a softer side. At the beginning of the series, he has a one-night stand with a woman, finds out she's got a child, and then decides to take them all out for breakfast, you know, just because it's in his nature. So we get an idea of what he's like despite what he's just been through. If you fast forward to the time he has with Amy, the two of them do their respective roles very well. Frank Castle is a sort of a killer, he's a mercenary, he's out to right wrongs, but at the same time he adopts a sort of father figure to Amy, and Amy, who's played by Georgia Wiggum, I nearly forgot it again there. She plays the role very well. She's a 16-year-old, so you've got, you know, she's moody, she's, you know, she I think she steals stuff in this episode as well, so and she just generally doesn't listen to the sort of father figure. So there's a lot of stuff that is relatable to fathers, dads everywhere in this, and I think the sort of journey that Frank goes on from taking this girl under his wing because he has to what happens at the end is a really good journey, and I think the two of them do it very, very well with a mixture of other characters that come into it. I think it's just a tremendous plot, and it does make for enjoyable viewing. The other thing I would say about Frank Castle is what happens later on in the plot is, I mean, Frank's whole idea is that he is beyond the law, and he should be able to kill freely as long as it's bad people that are being killed, because like other famous Marvel superheroes such as Spider-Man, Daredevil, they don't kill civilians, law-abiding citizens. So that's the difference. The show makes that clear. That's the difference between Frank and the enemy, and they challenge that in this series. And me personally, I didn't see it coming, but I think Jon Bernthal, I think he adopts the character well enough, and portrays the appropriate emotion on screen. I think he does a terrific job. So again, Jon Bernthal, an underrated actor. The second plot in this revolves around Ben Barnes and Billy Russo becoming Jigsaw. Following his beating at the hands of Frank, he awakes from a coma, unsure of who he is, what he's done, who his friends are, what he knows. So we go on a journey with him, knowing that this guy is the antagonist, knowing how sick in the head he is, but you can't help but feel a certain degree of sympathy for a man that has no idea why people would dislike him, why the police are after him, etc, etc. So again, Ben Barnes, I said at the end of season 1, he is a tremendous actor. He really is a good actor, and that just continues throughout this. We're taking on an up and down journey with him, a whole roller coaster of emotion, frustration of not knowing anything, frustration of being tormented by a nightmare of this skull-wearing maniac who put him where he is, and then obviously it culminates into what happens at the end. It's just a very, very well written piece. For me personally, I think that storyline is a lot better than the father figure one with Frank. I think it makes a lot better viewing. I don't think they're written any better. It's just, for me personally, it might just be because Ben Barnes did such a terrific job. He drew me in a little bit more. So other than that, I really can't say much more. To throw a criticism on the Jigsaw character is the makeup they did from the scarring. It just, if you know the comics, I don't know the Punisher inside out, but I've seen adaptations of Jigsaw and it just didn't really do it. The Jigsaw character is psychotic, we know that. He has psychopathic tendencies, but he also looks incredibly freaky as well, and in this season all we really get is a mask. Billy Russo's therapist gives him a mask to wear and decorate to how the world sees him. I mean, I get that Ben Barnes is an attractive guy and you need to try to involve that in what your visual storytelling, but for me they should have put the boat out and really messed them up. Yeah. So as it turns out, I've downloaded new software for my Logitech and I've got no idea how long this has run, so I'm going to stop this here. I think I've covered about as much as I can without spoiling too much. I mean, really, if you haven't, I would spend the $7-10, whatever it is, on Netflix, and just watch. If you haven't watched them, watch Daredevil, watch The Punisher, watch all of them because they really are good. So, but I'm not going to say any more because I don't want to spoil it. But in the meantime, I have been Andy on behalf of Tartan Film. Thank you very much for your time. If you're brand new, hit subscribe and the notification bell. Lots more happening on the channel. And if you're existing, thank you very much for being part of the squad. But until next time, take care of yourself. My name is Andy again for Tartan Film, and I'm out.